Okay, so for this question, we were asked, how do you open a document on OneDrive through Schoology, put it into students' notebooks, and have students work on the document? Now, the thing I'd like to point out here is notebooks. Now, I think what we need to do is kind of disassociate Schoology from from OneNote. So if you're having students use a OneNote notebook, then they can. You can give them instructions to use it, but you're not going to get seamless integration from Schoology. So the only thing that Schoology is going to do is it's going to let you set up your classroom notebooks. It's going to pre-populate with your students, but other than that, they are separate apps. So I'm going to show you why you probably wouldn't even want to do that in the first place. The way to do it through Schoology is going to organize everything for you. It's going to automatically create copies of that document for each student, and it's going to set it up in a way where you can grade it quickly without having to manually download or save anything. So, which brings us to these kind of follow-up questions. So, where does the document go to be assessed, and how do students save work? So, I'm going to show you that stuff, and then I'll get to question 3 afterwards. So, when it comes to opening a document through your OneDrive through Schoology, I'm going to show you. I have 2 different pages open. I have a teacher's page and a student's page, so you're going to be able to see what it's like from both perspectives. So if I wanted to make a OneDrive assignment, I'm going to add materials and add an assignment. So I don't know. We would have more detailed instructions, of course. And if you want to do it through OneDrive assignments, which is what I recommend you do, you're going to click on Assign from App here where it says OneDrive assignments. If you haven't signed in through this yet, it's going to prompt you to sign in through your 365 credentials. So, maybe I want to give them this blank template, and this is the assignment that I'm going to have them complete. So it's a blank PowerPoint, and then this way they can go in, they can make changes to their version of the PowerPoint, and it happens really in a clean way. So I'll give it a due date, assign it to a category, and these categories should be coming over right from PowerSchool. And if I wanted to add a rubric that I've created, I can do that right here, and then that's going to help me when I go to assess it later on. And it also will show the students that rubric, right, as long as I leave this checked. So this way the students are going to know what it is I'm expecting of them. Also, if you notice here, once I've attached this file, the program tells me that this will create a copy of your file for each student. So this is different than how we used to just share a PowerPoint. Traditionally, if we were to share this PowerPoint and my students started to edit it and work on it, then my original gets edited and worked on. But here through Schoology, it is creating unique copies for each student. So as they make changes, those changes are unique to their file, and I have very easy access to that file. So it's really a nice thing. If you have 30 students, you get 30 copies of that same PowerPoint with 30 unique edits. Okay, so I've just created this kind of test assignment. So now if I go and I look at it from the student's perspective, just hit refresh here. The student has the opportunity to work on that PowerPoint. So they're going to see my not very detailed instructions here, but they see my instructions. They see the rubric with the criteria. And again, this is not a detailed rubric. And then they can go to their version of the document. If it doesn't show up, luckily it did for me. If it doesn't show up, you would click here, and again, it would prompt you to log in using your 365 credentials. So the first time we all do this stuff, we'll have to log in a couple of times. And now the student, if they want to work, they just hit edit. So as they go in, they can, put in their own information. If we want them to draw, this is a request we got a lot. from faculty is, how do I give students an opportunity to draw and write on assignments? This is how you would do it. So anything that they could normally write or draw on with their tablets, they can do so with a OneDrive assignment. You can see here it says saved. It auto saves just like normal. Because it's saved, I can close out. As the student, if I want to refresh it just to make sure that those changes applied, you can see here's my name where it wasn't there before, my drawings. So as the student, if I feel like I'm finished, I can go ahead and I can submit this assignment. Now as the teacher, because again, the question was, where does the document go to be assessed? It's all in one place. So as the teacher, again, I'll refresh my page here. And I get a notification that says student 6 has submitted an item. So I can go ahead and I can look at the item that was submitted. So here I'll be able to see the original assignment. I'll be able to see any in progress work, right? So if I had some students that were working on it but weren't finished, this is where that would show up. And what's nice is you can actually see their work in progress. So you can catch mistakes or, help them out as they need it. And then I can see final submissions. So if a student submitted it and I think maybe they shouldn't have yet, I can kind of send it back to them. Or I can go in and I can work on it. Now it's prompting me to sign in, so let me just put in my credentials. And sure enough, here's their work. So this rubric that I have is interactive, so I can grade on the spot. So as I look at their individual slides and I look at the way that they completed each step, I can give them a rating. So if I think that they initiated the design in an excellent way, they get 4. If their ideation was good, their technical sketch, which they haven't really done yet, so I'm kind of making grades up right now, it will tally it all up for me. And if I wanted to add a comment for the grade book, I could add that in addition to the numerical score, and then I can save it. So how do students save the work? They don't need to. Everything's automatic. Everything's done for them. I was able to assess it without having to pull up anything external. And that's why I encourage you to use Schoology, the OneDrive assignments whenever possible, and try to keep it separate from a OneNote document. I guess the recommendation that we've heard is, if you want them to continue to use OneNote for note-taking purposes, then totally do that. Do whatever works best for you. But I think that as the year progresses, the more things you migrate over to Schoology, the easier your job's going to become. This last one is asking how to change documents from PDFs to Word or some other format that students can work on. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. I just tried this today and it worked well. What I would do first is just try to open a PDF in Word. So for example, I was testing this one out earlier. If I chose this PDF from our faculty meeting in May, I'm just opening it in Word. So instead of opening a Word document, I'm opening a PDF. And what it's going to tell me is it's going to convert that PDF into an editable document. So this isn't always going to work great, but if it's just kind of plain text, it should work most of the time. So you can see I'm able to just go in and type and everything. So basically what I would do is I would just take this now Word document and then just save it to my OneDrive. And then here I have a document that can be distributed as a OneDrive document. Now the things that didn't really come out is it seems like there was some highlighting here that didn't really convert cleanly. So I could just delete that and highlight again, right? So it's not going to be perfect, but it's a pretty good result for getting what you were looking for. If this doesn't work for you, you can try, there's external websites like smallpdf.com is a good one that I use. But I don't want to vouch for stuff like that because, there's a lot of spammy links on them. So I would suggest you do it through Word whenever possible. And PowerPoint, I'm sure, is the same thing. All right, that's it for that question.